Hi, I'm Catherine. Welcome to my making adventure. This is Fix It Friday throughout February. So last month I started my Fix It Friday series by launching my January Fix It videos. So I will start my February ones now. There's still quite a few. Today I'm going to be fixing a pair of socks that I made last year. I guess I only brought one of them out here. And there's a hole. And I just got this hole in them and I'd like to repair it quickly. I watched several different videos about like you could rip out the whole toe and re-knit it. And I actually have enough yarn I could do that. But I mean, this yarn that I used is non-superwash. I mean, this is Patton's Croy, but this is a non-superwash yarn. No, this is a superwash yarn without nylon, like 100% superwash yarn. So I don't really think that by just re-knitting it, it's going to last any longer if I use the same yarn. And it's sport weight yarn. And I use like a US 2 needle, and I don't really like that gauge with fingering weight for my socks. So I decided the best route after I watched some other videos. I watched like darning videos. What I'm going to try is knitting a patch with the Patton's Croy yarn over top of that. And so I picked up stitches. I'm gonna knit those stitches to cover the gap. And every row, you like reattach the knitting to the sock so that it lays flat, and then at the end you bind it off by grafting it to the sock, to the original sock. So that's my plan. There are other places in the sock where it's like kind of thin, and one of the things I was thinking about doing was like duplicate stitching. Sorry, my yarn almost blew away. Probably stick there. Duplicate stitching with the other one is worse in at the bottom of the foot, but with some fingering weight sock yarn. So I might do that too, depending on how well this my patching efforts go today. So let's get started. Okay, so I've knit 2 rounds, or rows I guess. And one of the things I'm worried about this is that compared to like a darn, you're not securing, like I feel like I'm not securing these stitches that are like kind of hanging loose. So I think one of the things I'm going to try to do is like pick that stitch up when I get there. This is the lowest one, and knit it together. And then on the next round I'll do that with the two that are above it. Sorry, the light keeps changing. So you can see there's like kind of 3 stitches there I want to try to pick up. And then when I get like up here at the top, I will try to do the same thing with some of those stitches. I just want it to be secure, you know? Okay, so this is how it's going. And I've been attaching it to stitches around the edge of the hole as I can. And unfortunately, I'm running a little bit low on yarn. I've got maybe 16 inches left, and I think I'm going to need, I think I can knit across, and then I'm going to need new yarn before I purl back. And I want to do a couple more rows. I want to work my way up to where these stitch markers are, is kind of where I was thinking I would graft it down. So I just barely finished covering up the hole. I want to have a little bit past that. So what time is it? I'm gonna make sure, I don't think I said this earlier, but I'm gonna make sure to link the video tutorial I watched that taught me this method. 30 seconds later, and I've found a giant mistake in that while securing the edge down to the back of the foot, I have also secured it to the front of the foot of the sock, and I'm not sure at what point exactly that was at, so I will be ripping back, which might mean starting all the way over. I'm not sure at this point. So here we go. Yay! I am no longer attached to the front of the sock. So, and my needle is back in without ripping all the way back to the beginning. So, success, if you can count it as success. And now I'm gonna keep going. For real though. Okay, back to the beginning because it was actually attached on this other side lower down, and I guess I just hadn't realized that yet. So I ripped it back. Now I have full range of motion, and I also wish I had like a darning egg, but I don't. So my husband is digging around in the garage for an old doorknob, because we do have old doorknobs. So we'll see if I can get that to work. Because I don't want to keep making this mistake. Okay, this is how far I got again before we have to go in. So I think I'll work on it inside now. Okay, progress, and I am not attached to the front of the sock. I have knit past the hole, and I think that I'm ready to graft it. I have put stitch markers like on this stitch and on this stitch so that it would make it easier for me to pick up the stitches to graft it. That was one of the things that I thought when I was watching the video it would have made it easier. So I went ahead and did that. So when I initially picked up my stitches across the bottom, then I just like marked with my stitch markers. You probably saw them on the previous videos. Now I've picked it up, and the video recommended grafting it after a knit row by turning it around and doing it this way. So I don't really know why you would do it that way rather than doing it after a purl row and working it that like this way, but I'm gonna follow the video's recommendations and go ahead and finish this off. I did have to add a second piece of yarn. So with this method, you keep the yarn on the needle to help you kind of like attach it on the side the whole way. So you have to start with a shorter piece of yarn and then like add more. So this is my second piece of yarn. So I'll have 4 ends to weave in when we're done, which I'm like not thrilled about, but could be worse. All right, time to graft it. Ta-da! It's done. I'm not sure. I think it's gonna, like, I'm gonna feel it just the same way I would as if I darned it. Is that the right? This is what it looks like on the inside. Here's where the hole was. It is felted in places because I've worn these socks quite a bit. You can see those side stitches where I tacked it down as I went. And you can see all the ends I have to weave in. When I knit the sock originally and I wove in the ends, I didn't cut them all the way short, because if I cut them all the way short, then they pop through to the front. So that's probably why there's like quite a bit of felting down here. But fuzz, oh, that just peeled right off. Maybe it's just pilling. Although pilling is kind of similar to felting. Okay, it's this other sock at the heel that I feel like is really wearing thin. So I think I'll use fingering weight yarn that it has nylon in it. And it also has a spot at the toe. This is very similar to where the hole is in the other sock. So I'll just probably duplicate stitch a section of each of those. So we'll see how that goes. All right, time to wrap up today's Fix It Friday. I did finish that one where the hole was, and it feels like I'm walking on a cotton ball, to be honest. I don't know if I had done like the woven darning method, if that would have felt different or better. But I could have used thinner yarn, like I could have used sock yarn. Then I duplicate stitched over this area that was thinner with some sock yarn, and that feels nice. I can barely feel that at all. So I just got that one. I do think I ought to do down by the heel, probably on both socks with a duplicate stitch, but not today. So today I just fixed where it was worn at the toe. And yeah, if I have another sock get a hole right there, I will probably try. Amy from Noble Character Crafts has a method that she uses at the ball of her foot, because she says that's where her socks wear out first. I will probably try doing that if I have more of an issue with that. I don't know if it's just this yarn or if I will have other socks wear out in the same place. So yeah, that's it for today, February 6th. And I'm really excited to be able to get these socks back on my feet and not sitting in a pile of things that need fixed. Hi, we're back for another Fix It Friday. Today is February 13th. And today I'm going to work on fixing my daughter's socks. I made these socks for her, I think over a year ago, and they still fit her width-wise, but they're too short. So I'm going to try ripping out the toe and re-knitting it longer. So I put my needle in as best as I could. I'm finding that the yarn is more felted than I thought it would be. So I'm not sure how this is going to go, but we're going to give it a whirl. I knit these on a US 1, so I put US 1s back in. I am 2 stitches short. I can see like 1 stitch on this side, probably 1 stitch on this side that I didn't pick up, but I just don't think the needles and the yarn are gonna work. So let's pick it up as I'm frogging it. I'm not sure if I started the toe in the black or not, so I picked up the last row of the light blue because I can't see the black yarn very well to tell if I've done any toe decreases there. I don't think so. I think I did them all in that purple toe, but it's not that hard to re-knit 3 rounds, you know. So this is 48 stitches on a US 1. So there's 2 socks that need made longer, probably at least 10 rounds of stockinette before doing the toe to add 10 rows of length. Yeah, I think probably maybe even 15 to 20. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna guess 15, but we'll see. I'll have her try them on as I go. So this is today's Fix It Friday. I've pulled out tons of like little dinky bits of scraps. There's one more in there that I didn't, okay, there. So like, I don't even know if all of these will do more than 1 round, but I'm gonna use them up, and that will continue with the stripy look that we've got going here. I do not have any more of this Felice yarn that I had used here in the Lisa colorway that I striped with a black. So it's just gonna be more random stripes at the bottom. So we'll see how that goes. Here we go. Quick update. Sock 1 still, but I've added about 8 rounds and it's ready for a toe. So I didn't need 15 rounds like I thought. I re-knit all the black, and then I switched to this color and then this color, and I have a little bit more of that yellow, and I'm going to start the toe right away with that. I'm going to transition to this. It has a tiny bit of pink and then some purple. Hopefully you can't hear my children fussing in the background. It's bedtime. Sometimes they don't like bedtime. Today is one of those nights. Right. we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. I have finished the toe of the first sock. I ended up knitting, I think 8 rounds past this black stripe, which was there before, but I like ripped it out and re-knit it and then added 8 more rounds and then did the toe. And I did a rounded toe. So every other row decreases at first, and then every row decreases at the end. And I'm not gonna Kitchener it until my daughter has tried it on in the morning. It's just gonna hang out like this, which means I can't start the second one because my needles are busy. And I think I'm okay with that. I could maybe like start ripping out the first one. Even if I don't go all the way, but I go like to the black. That might be productive. I also have to fix my daughter's little bear that she got from our friend for Valentine's Day. She said it has a hole somewhere. Maybe I should have asked for more details before I sent her to bed, because I do not see a hole. She said it's ripping. I thought it was along the back, but it doesn't seem to be ripping along the back at all. Oh, right here. He's on his bottom. I need to stitch that guy up. And I picked out, oh, where'd it go? Some bright pink thread for our stuffy surgery. I told her I'd try to get that done tonight. That's like a 1-minute project. So yeah. And then it's almost bedtime. I'm hoping tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So I will film if I work on the second sock tomorrow. But if I don't work on it tomorrow, I might not film it. I don't think I'm gonna wait till next Friday to do it. I think I want to get them done. She was so excited when she saw me working on them. And there was like there's a few pieces of yarn I didn't use. And her little sister was like, when you're done with that, you can make me something with those little pieces of yarn. I was like, oh, can I? She was like, but you do not have to do it right away. So I saw somebody was knitting like little hearts, like little stuffed hearts. And I was like, maybe I could do that. I'd need a pattern though, and it would have to be free. So we'll see. I could crochet something. Maybe I'll have to knit them each a heart tomorrow for Valentine's Day. Emily of Woldenburn was talking about doing a Valentine's Day cast on, and I think I'm gonna do that. So, but I think I'm gonna film a podcast tomorrow, so I don't know that I'll film my cast on. All right, I think that's all for tonight. Keep you posted. Bye. Good morning. It is now Saturday. It's almost 10 o'clock, and I thought I would finish the sock before I took the baby for a walk. She's literally standing at the door yelling walk at me because her sister's already left to go to the garden with Dad, so she's feeling left out. So I'm pausing. This is the second sock. I have 4 rounds left, and the rounds get smaller. So I'm probably less than 10 minutes away from finishing this, but we're done for now. Here is the first sock, and I even like woven the ends and trimmed them. So that's my Saturday morning update for now. We're back from our walk and from the garden, and I have 2 finished socks. This is the second one. So the colors are a little bit different, but they're the same length, and they should fit her now, and she's ready to wear them. I bet she wears them tomorrow, if not today. But she's already got socks on for today, so she'll be excited. It does look kind of silly. This is all like super worn and then like new toes, but I'm sure that won't last long. So yeah, I finish it Friday done. Happy Valentine's Day, and I'll be back next week. Hi, somehow it's Friday again. Today is February 20th, and I have a fix-it project from a friend. So one of my friend's son has this green sweater that they love, and the sleeve started coming off, and she's repaired it. There's 2 different styles of repair that I see here. So I think she's tried to fix it like twice, but she says it just keeps coming undone. So I think it looks like I'm gonna have to take the sleeve all the way off and reattach it all the way, or it's going to keep getting worse and worse. It doesn't look like any of the knit fabric is really coming apart. This thread here makes me a little bit nervous about that. And then I'll have to find the best matching thread I can to reattach it. And I would guess it was initially machine done. So maybe while I'm taking apart, I'll figure out how to better reattach it. So she buys nice clothes so that like all her kids can wear them. So I don't even know if this would fit her son right now. I think it would. So the faster I can get it back to her, the better, because it's really cold right now. We went from 70s to 20s this week. So, and we have snow. So yeah, I'd like to see if I can at least get a plan of action this week and start taking the sleeve off carefully. I want to make sure like not to open up any of the knitting if possible, so that I don't have it like unraveling. But like this looks like doesn't have any live stitches, so we'll have to see what we can do. If I could keep the thread from the seam, that would obviously be great. I think I can see it kind of right here. So then I could use it to repair it with the same color. So let's see. Okay, so that actually took less than 10 minutes. And I have a sleeve almost entirely separate from the body. I don't think I need to completely separate them because I have pulled the connecting string as much as it will unravel. And the unraveling of it was probably what the problem was, why it kept getting worse, even if she fixed it, because this was still loose. So if the string got tugged, it was still gonna make a hole. So now I'll just plan to, I might sort of pin it into place and then figure out, it was like, this is the seam, like the seams were overlapping by quite a bit on the inside. Just kind of lay them together and maybe just do a running stitch with this all the way around and then just make sure to secure it really well. That's the plan.
I guess I didn't really hear her.
Okay. Well, we don't have to decide today.
Yeah. But I'm going to get them.
You need to get down.
You could like match them up in other places, but one has each one has one sock and one. You can look through them and then you tell me.
All right, here is a finished sleeve. The original sleeve is like super neat in its seam there. The attachment line is like perfect, and I didn't get that with my seaming, but I did use the thread that was already used for seaming. Yeah, it had a bigger seam allowance than I did. I kept my seam super close to the ends. And I even went around almost a full second time. I think like this much didn't get, like with a blanket stitch. So I did a running stitch the first time and then a blanket stitch with the seam allowance to stitch it together and kind of keep it a little bit more secure until I ran out of the thread that had been the original seam thread. So I think my friend will be pleased with that and she'll get the sweater back. Her son is like not as calm as my daughter's, so I don't know what it takes to make a seam hold for a boy like that, but hopefully this will work. And that's all for today's Fix It Friday. All right, so that was actually the end of Fix It Friday for February because I didn't get to it the 4th Friday. So 3 fixed items is still a good deal for February. And thanks for watching and God bless.